Hi, this is the Dandy Cycle and I welcome you to my channel. Today, I will be sharing with you on how to understand the engineering design of a bike as your basis to choose which bike fits you most and what is best for you. Every bike has an engineering design or style for a different application. By understanding the bike geometry, chances are you may enjoy your bike and it will serve your purpose just right. Bike geometry is engineered for how a bike look, rides, and handles. If you are keen to know about how it all works, then this video is for you. Tara na! We will spell out every measurement refers to and how it works, along with how it influences rider and what should be looking out for in bicycle geometry. To start with, we have to know the anatomy of the bike. It's important to know straight off the top that bikes are not the same in terms of geometry and sizes. Usually, manufacturers refers to the sizes of the bike by describing like extra small, small, medium, or large, or with a measurement like 48 cm, 51 cm, 54 cm, 56 cm. Those measurements are not universally standard, thus knowing how to read a geometry chart is crucial and decisive to compare different types of bicycles from different manufacturers. Bike frames are commonly measured in centimeter or in inches. The same measurement could also be described as an extra small, small, medium, or large, depending on the manufacturer's style. Measurement of the bike are also considered by region or country to where the bike is being sold. Therefore, the bike quoted sizes is not so advantageous when comparing between brands. What is important before you buy? You have to consider what kind of cycling activities would you like or would you consider. The two most common fundamental elements of the frame geometry are the slack and reach of the bike. Knowing the bike's slack and reach allows you to compare between different brand manufacturer, and you immediately know that you are comfortable with, regardless of how it is described or what the seat tube measurement. For example, endurance road bike typically have greater slack than the race-oriented road bikes, while reach indicates how long the frame is. Performance road bikes, for example, are typically have a longer reach than endurance bike to stretch a rider out, creating a lower frontal profile to improve aerodynamics. Frame reach can also be manipulated by changing the saddle seat back position, seat post, and stem length. That is why it is important to ride on the bike that you are eyeing for before deciding to buy it. Probably recommend not to buy right away. Feel it, or perhaps the bike store allows you to test it so that you may able to know if it will fit you, or most importantly, you are comfortable with. Because once you already bought it, you can no longer return it. For more technical aspect of the bike geometry, the head tube angle and the length are likely to be considered. The head tube angle are commonly described as either slack or stiff. The slack head tube angle requires more effort to steer, but like for example, mountain bike have a slacker head tube angle, providing a greater stability on rough and technical trails, while stiff head tube angle commonly found on a performance road bikes. It is less effort to steer and allow riders for a fast handling bike. With a longer head tube, puts the riders on the more upright position, while the riders with a short head tube lower the frontal end of the bike, placing the rider in an aggressive position. This designed to reduce the frontal profile of the rider to improve aerodynamics. This is usually a race-oriented road bikes. Furthermore, fork rake and offset is another key factor in handling of the bike. The amount that the fork is offset from the imaginary line is known as a fork rake in road bike or fork offset in mountain bike. Increasing the offset will make steerer faster. Conversely, decreasing will slow it down. However, fork rake is one part of the steering story. The greater fork rake will also increase the wheelbase of the bike, which is common for more focused endurance bike, thus increases stability. Now, for more complicated element of the bike geometry is the trail. Trail is a combination of the head tube angle in the fork rake. This is also important for the tire contact point trailing behind the steering axis. Therefore, the small amount of trail is equal to the fast handling bike, while the greater amount of trail is equal to the slower handling bike. This is common to a trail-oriented mountain bikes. However, manufacturers will manipulate the head tube angle or the amount of the fork offset to make the handling suitable to the rider's bike need. Like for example, a performance race bikes has a stiff head tube with a greater fork offset, contrary to an endurance bike that has a slack head tube with small fork offset. Mountain bike, for example, typically have head tube angle of 70 degrees and below. In order to speed up the steering, the fork should have a greater offset. The seat tube angle doesn't change as much as head tube angle. This is generally sitting between 71 degrees to 75 degrees regardless of the chosen discipline. Seat tube length is measured from the center of the bottom bracket up to the tip of the frame, wherein top tube and seat tube proportionally meets. Changing the saddle seat back position can also influence the seat tube angle effectively by making it slacker and stiffer. The bike chainstay is also being considered. The longer chainstay typically improves stability as well as creating a longer wheelbase in the process, because the long wheelbase delivers stability and comfort for the riders, while bike with shorter chainstay will have a sharper handling, the same as creating shorter wheelbase that possesses sharper handling as well. Same is true with touring and endurance road bike that offers longer wheelbase compared to more performance-oriented bikes. Likewise for mountain bikes, where cross-country bikes have a shorter wheelbase than comparing it with the enduro and downhill mountain bikes. The last fundamental geometry of the bike is the bottom bracket drop. This is typically ranges from 60 mm to 80 mm depending on the purpose of the bike. The lower bottom bracket drop is typically better for handling, as the rider's center of gravity is lowered. This is also needed to balance with the pedal's clearance. Too low of the bottom bracket drop could lead dragging your pedal on the ground when cornering. So this is also to be considered. The bottom bracket drop should be balanced with the trail measurement, which dictated by the front end of the bike, and for bottom bracket drop will have an impact handling at the rear. Therefore, balance is the key. This gives an important aspect of the mountain bikes, since there are more obstacles are being encountered at the trail. That's why bottom bracket drop has a large consideration for a more consistent measurement, as it is not being affected by the tire volume. Therefore, this has to be considered to have a balanced and stable bicycle. Other measurements like stem length are also necessary. Bike manufacturers select best length based on optimal capabilities and also optimal handling performance, and so challenging it could lead to a negative effect. Generally speaking, shorter stem length allows you to be more quicker, while longer stem length will slow things down. And this could also be implicated with how the bike head tube angle and fork brake or offset will affect your bike handling. On the other hand, handlebar width is also being described as important factor, for 2 cm difference could feel drastically different. Handlebar width share the same pattern with stem lengths. Narrower bar have a benefit of improving aerodynamics by reducing a rider's frontal profile. However, can be also uncomfortable when dealing with corners. While wider handlebars create more stability with greater leverage for high speed and for steep climbing, but can make steering a little bit slower. That is why mountain bikes are more stable and have more control than road bikes, while handlebars reach can be manipulated by changing stem length at your most comfortable feel for your bikes. Typically speaking, modern endurance road bikes are coming with shorter reach handlebars, and for more race-focused models still use a longer reach by allowing riders for more aggressive riding position. Lastly, the seat post of the bike. Most modern bike comes with oversized seat posts like 30.9 mm or 31.6 mm that provide stiffness and strength of the bike, whereas the standard 27.2 mm provides more comfort and lighter weight for the bike. Now that you know everything there is to know about the fundamentals of the bike geometry, perhaps you can easily enjoy looking for the right bicycle for you. Remember that the bike is engineered for different cycling applications. By understanding it, chances are you may enjoy your bicycle and it serves the purpose just right.